Each loader scale will come with a hydraulic fitting kit. That'll be dependent on what machine you have, but it's probably going to consist of something like a T or a flange fitting, an elbow to get to a 90-degree turn, a coupler, and then an adapter that will go on to your pressure transducer. So all this stuff will go together, and then you'll wind up with something like that. I've traced back my hydraulic lift cylinder lines. I've found a good place to put my T's under here for the rod and cylinder connections. So make sure that bucket's supported either with the safety bracket provided by the manufacturer, or you can tilt the bucket down, and if you have a big enough machine you can still work underneath of it with the bucket on the ground. Relieve that pressure on the hydraulic system before you crack any hydraulic line to avoid getting sprayed. Potentially very dangerous situation. And once you have your safety stuff done, go ahead and start installing your pressure transducer. Okay, I've traced my hydraulic lines down to a spot where I can install a T. I've installed the piston side one already, and you can see this is where the rod one will go. So I'll break this connection here and install the T. We don't ever want to put the pressure transducers right out at the actual cylinder, because they'll be exposed to more potential danger and damage, and also they'll be moving up and down all the time with the piston or with the cylinder as the bucket moves up and down. Here is a shot of the pressure transducers. I traced the lines from the one cylinder on this machine down to where it comes out of the valve here, and installed T's. You can see this one's labeled piston, so that will go to the back end of the lift cylinder, and the other one here marked rod, that goes up to the rod end out here. Also, if you can try to install your sensors where the end of the sensor is kind of running uphill, that will allow any air that might be trapped in the sensor to hopefully escape out and go back through the system and out into the tank. power cable that's supplied with the scale is labeled red positive, and your black will be your ground, neutral. We will typically go into the fuse panel and do an add a fuse, and then you have to find your own ground. This system can handle 12 or 24 volts. Your other option would maybe be going into the cab and finding a power supply like at a light switch, or maybe an ignition key area, and powering it up that way. One of the most important steps in the calibration procedure is this lift cylinder size. So all we're looking for here is the size of the piston, which is the size of the whole lift cylinder barrel, since we can't go to the inside and measure the actual piston. And then we're going to measure the rod diameter, the chrome rod coming out. The piston size will always be bigger than the rod size. So to do that, we're just going to hit the up arrow until we get where we want it to go. 4-inch piston, we're going to hit set piston diameter. That will lock it in, as you can see there at the top. And then we're going to do the rod same way. And lock it in. And you can just hit back and go back to your calibration page. Calibrate the LS300 scale. We're going to Hit settings, advanced settings, calibration, passcode 6343, okay. The first one we're going to do is the empty cal. There's a calibration in here right now. We're going to delete that off. We're going to hit start cal procedure. We're going to do 3 lifts at low engine speed with the bucket all the way back and pulling the lever all the way back. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. We're going to hit next. We're going to go down. We're going to bring the engine speed up to medium. Do 3, the bucket all the way back. 1, 2. And the numbers we're seeing, the first column is a time. The next 2 columns are your pressures on your pressure sensors for the lift circuit. If your times aren't close enough together, it'll give you a red light and you'll have to do it over. We're going to hit next. We're going to go up to high speed. Test pounds. Since we didn't lift any weight, we don't have any force per psi, and our average pressure is 715 psi. We've completed the empty cal. Now we're going to do load 1 calibration. So I'm going to hit the known value, set known. This should always be at least 500 pounds. If you have a real big machine, we're going to start with like a 1/4 bucket of material or a 1/2 bucket of material. So enter your weight. I'm using 500. Now we're going to hit start. Now we're going to do our 3 slow lifts. Bucket curl back all the way. Start the lifts. Again, that first column is a time. The second column is your piston pressure. The third column is your rod pressure. You got 3 good lifts. Got the green light. The next, I'm going to go to medium speed. The next, fast speed. PSI is 20, average piston pressure is 960. Force per PSI should never change, no matter how much weight you have in it. That is just a factor of how big your lift cylinders are. So that number should never change. So if you see a big variance between cal point 1, 2, and 3, then you probably have a problem with